Good afternoon. Welcome to Interesting Talks with Footprints Counselling Service. Today we're going to be talking about communication, something I'm using to communicate with you. Only it's a one-way communication when it's on video. But communication in conversational terms, very, very important. And I'll explain some of the reasons why I believe it is so in a minute. But first, let's get to the business side. Like, share this video, leave comments, leave suggestions of anything you think that you would like me to talk about in future videos. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, it's totally free. And, spread the word, please. I'd appreciate it. I feel what I'm trying to share is useful. So today, communication, basic communication, with a few tips thrown in for good measure. Now, when we're having a conversation with somebody, obviously our mouth is so powerful, our mind is so powerful, it influences the world by what we say and what we do. Even if it doesn't influence the whole world, it certainly influences our world. So it's good to be mindful of what we do, how we do it, and when we do it. So when you're having a conversation with somebody, it's really important to listen and to hear what they're saying. Now, I know some people already said, but that's what I do. But do you really? Because if when that person is speaking, you're already formulating in your mind your response, your mind is shut off. You're no longer hearing them. You may be even listening slightly, but you're not actually hearing what they say. So slow the process down. Listen to what they've got to say. Maybe even allow a little small silence when they're finished. Then you can reply. Then you've understood what they're trying to express to you. Okay? Whilst I was training to become a counsellor, they explained to us that as counsellors, irrespective of what technique or style we were using, because there's many different techniques and styles in counselling, I'm sure I'll address that later in another video, but we need to listen 80%. Listen 80%, and our interventions should be 20%. Now, the reason they explained that to us was because when somebody's talking, i.e. a client, for you to really understand what they're talking about, you seriously have to listen. And you can't be interrupting them or making interventions unnecessarily, because one, it'll cut down their flow, and when people keep interrupting a conversation, the speaker loses confidence in what they're saying. And two, the listener, i.e. you, will not understand what the person's talking about. Okay? In life, we don't necessarily always pay attention to other people's body language or even our body language. But that is 55% of what you communicate or what other people communicate to you. So apart from listening, I think you should pay attention to people's posture, their facial expressions, and their gestures, similar to what I'm doing now. When somebody is taking control of a conversation, or they feel that they're taking control of the conversation, and let's say they're speaking 80% of the time, well, you are only, talking 20% of the time, the person who's doing all the talking would feel that they're in control of the conversation. It's not true. They will be like an open book. They would have told you everything what they want to tell you about that particular circumstances or about themselves in general, whereby you've listened, you've just listened, you've learnt. Now, when you're listening, that is when you learn. When you're talking, you're not learning. Okay? So try to bear that in mind. Second thing to think about is perspective. Now, we all come to look at the world in a different viewpoint from different perspectives, i.e. people that are Roman Catholics, Protestants, Muslims, atheists, Buddhists. They might all have the same religious beliefs, but their perspective of that religious belief or political belief or whatever belief it is that they're all engaged in will be totally different. It'll be similar, but different. That's because all of our experiences make us who we are. And of course, it is unique like our fingerprints. Okay? So what you need to do when you're listening to somebody is try to gain their perspective. And when you're talking to them, your objective, hopefully, is for them to understand your perspective. That's for good communication. Now, if you want to learn something from somebody, then you need to listen to them. If you want to find out some information from somebody, you need to listen to them. If you want good lines of communication with somebody, again, you need to listen to them, you need to hear them, you need to try to understand their perspective. If you're not interested in them, then of course you won't bother participate in any of these experiments. But for good communication, we need good listening skills. And sometimes when the person even stops talking, allow a small pause for you to digest what they're saying, and then you can respond. But don't respond whilst they're still talking, because as I said, you've switched off. Now, good communication is important in so many fields of life. Now, if you don't have good communication skills and you're not taking people's perspective, it's going to affect you in work. It's going to affect you in your personal relationships. It's going to affect you with your partner and the relationship that you have. When one group of people don't understand another group of people, what happens? Ignorance takes place. After ignorance, conflict takes place. This applies also to countries. When countries disagree, the next thing that can happen with lack of communication can be a war. Okay? So this is how serious good communication is. Furthermore, when somebody is talking and you're trying to ram your opinion down their throat, step back and think, what is my objective here? Why am I having a conversation with this person? Is it not a two-way street? So they learn from me, I learn from them? Or is it just that you want to enforce your will on somebody else? So, in short, try to gain somebody else's perspective by listening to what they have to say. Then you respond. And when you're responding, your objective is for them to understand your perspective. They're not going to see your opinion in the same way that you see it, but if you're able to articulate it for them so that they can see what you're trying to say and hear what you're trying to say, but then they'll use their own brain or their own perspective to put it into context for their life. Okay, so it was a short talk today, short and sweet, but hopefully I touched on points that you will be able to start to incorporate in your life, because obviously when we're not aware of stuff, then we're not aware of it, and we will continue to do the same old thing, and we get the same results. But if you become aware of something, then at least you've got a choice to consciously try to incorporate it into your life, or you can just say, I'm not interested, I'll continue as I am. It's your choice. But anyway, till next time, take care, stay positive, like this video, share it with your friends, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and until next time, take care.